Hey, welcome to Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf. Today, entrepreneurs, I got to talk to you about something you need to be doing if you are going to thrive in inflation, if you are going to not allow inflation to defeat you, defeat your business, defeat your family. Here's a key. Ready? Get something to write this down with. Track real growth. What does that mean? Here's what that means. For, Bureau of Labor Statistics for March says inflation was 8.5%. So it's 8.5% inflation year over year. Now, you go to the gasoline pump, there's a lot of things that are getting more expensive way faster than that, right? Let's run with that number for a second. But in fact, before we even do that, Federal Reserve says, let me pull this up for you. Federal Reserve says it's closer to 18%. If you look here is March 2022. I'm looking over here to read that for you. 18.2%. So think about that, 18.2%. Let's, for sake of sanity, let's run with the 8.5%. Okay. That's what most people are going to be paying attention to. As a business owner, you better be paying attention to that 18% number because it's more likely closer to what you're actually experiencing in cost pressure over the last 12 months. Let's run with the 8.5%. What does that really mean? Why am I harping on this? You need to grow your business faster than inflation, right? So if inflation's at 8.5%, let me pull up a little worksheet here so that we can have something to work with. So say inflation is 8.5%. So at 8.5% inflation, you need to grow your business 8.5%, your profits at 8.5% year over year just to stay ahead, just to stay even with inflation. Right? So what does 8.5% inflation means? It means something that cost you $1,997 because we know, right, as an entrepreneur, pricing policy, pricing psychology, you do in 1997. So if you have an investment in a training program, in a new piece of software, piece of equipment, training to upgrade skills for your staff, if it cost $1,997, $1,997 in 2021, 12 months later, it's now costing you, look at this, $2,167. That's why you need to grow your profit faster than 8.5% to stay ahead of inflation. Well, what does that mean? So let's say you had $800,000 or $500,000. 800,000 would be better. Let's say you had $500,000 in profits in 2021. What do you need to do in 2022 to stay ahead, right? Well, $500,000 in profit is the same as $542,000 in 2022. That's just to stay even. You need to grow your profits from 500,000 to 542,000. See that right there? Just to stay even with inflation. Now, let's take that another step. Let's say you're not doing it. Let's say you're doing exactly the same as you did last year. You got $500,000 in profits. Well, guess what? Because of inflation, your $500,000 in profit is only worth $457,000, $457,500. Do you see what's happening there? So you need to grow at least 8.5% just to break even in real terms because inflation is eating away at your dollars. It's burning your money. You got to grow faster to do that. Come back to that chart from the Fed, the Federal Reserve. Fed is shorthand for Federal Reserve. Let me pull that back up. Give me just a second here. Here we are. So we're looking at that again. 18% for 2022. So January, February, and March have all been over 18% inflation according to the Federal Reserve. That's year over year inflation compared to January, February, March of 2021. So that means you need to grow your business 19%. Your profits need to grow 19% in 2022 just to break even in terms of the purchasing power you had in 2021. How fast are you growing your business? Where are you setting your sights? What are your goals? How are you coaching and facilitating your team, your leadership team in your business? Because likely your profits were a heck of a lot more than $500,000. I'm just using that as a number. For example, So you can see to put a fine point on the impact. The bigger the numbers, the worse it gets. You need to grow at between 8.5 and 18.5% interest, depending on whose numbers you want to believe, in order just to break even with your business performance from 2021. Are you coaching your leadership team to make that happen? What steps are you taking? How are you doing that? We'll have more about that. This is an ongoing series on how to thrive during high inflation, how to grow your business during high inflation. You can scale up. You can. There's simple shifts that need to be put in place. They don't require you working thousands of hours, right? Because there's just no more hours after all the pivots, adjustments, craziness you went through in the past 18 months, the past 2 years now, coming up on 2.5 years before we know it. There's no more hours in the day to pour into it. And a lot of times more hours isn't the solution anyway. It's just a minor shift in your role and how you're looking at things and where you have your team focused that will make the difference so that you can be one of the businesses that scales up during high inflation while your competitors stumble and struggle. So we'll have more on that. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Always love seeing your comments. If you like what you're seeing, smash that like button and hit notifications if you're watching this on our YouTube channel so that you get a heads up when we've got more coming, because there's a lot more information coming. We're going to do this one quick, brief tip at a time. So you've got stuff you can apply to today. So looking at that real growth in your business is what you need to apply today. If you're not already doing that, and I've been surprised at how many business owners aren't, how many CEOs aren't focused on that, what are you getting versus what inflation is taking away from you? You need to focus on that in your KPIs, your key performance indicators that you are watching and managing with your leadership team on. Thanks for being part of Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and I will see you on the trail.